Hey there, folks. Today we're trying a little bit different format. I'm going to be doing a voiceover sort of recording of my writing to sort of give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking, what's going on with my writing. Here, I just stopped. I think I forgot to turn my ABS off or something like that. So, yeah, let's go along. Starting off with some of the beginning of the trail here. Kind of wanted to do this in a somewhat similar to the Awesome Players Off-Road MC. They're a really good YouTube channel, one of my favorites. If you want to check them out. This is a pretty decently well-traveled trail. You can see, I've already passed a few bikes and a Jeep and some more. I'll pass some more vehicles up ahead, and this is a really cool trail. You can see here it's kind of nice because of how wide it is, and which is good when you're on a motorcycle because it just gives me a lot of room to sort of choose my path around obstacles and rocks and stuff. You can see here it's starting to get a little rockier, so I slowed down a bit, especially since I was just starting out on the trail for the day. But yeah, at first it's nice because it's pretty wide. It does get narrower further on down, but this is part of the Switzerland Trail in Colorado. This is actually an old narrow gauge railroad bed from back in the gold mining days when they were moving gold and people between all the mining towns up here. It's a relatively easy trail to deal with. You can see up here, sometimes you run across some interesting vehicles on this road. Actually, here's a stock Subaru Forester in front of me. He's taking it a bit slow, which makes sense because he doesn't have too much ground clearance. I honestly wouldn't be in a car that low, especially in some of the spots on here where there's some little like trenches and stuff where you require a little bit more sort of ground clearance. But here you can see I'm just kind of going slow behind him, picking my path, letting him kind of get through this rocky section before I decide to pass. Because I don't want to, try to have to get around him in a rocky section or whatever. Just giving him some room to keep going. Here, though, I decided to pass because I noticed there was another truck coming the other direction, and he waved me on through, and he was waiting. So I figured, just to be courteous and get out of these guys' way as soon as possible, so they can figure out how to get around each other and deal with that. So I'm out of the way and out of the mix, and then I can continue down this kind of rocky downhill here without worrying about them. And here it kind of flattens out, and I can speed up a bit. There's some more rocks. You can see here it's a little bit looser. Rocks are kind of a little bit looser now. Most of them, as you can see, are buried in the ground, but you have to be careful on them because even though they're buried, they're not really loose. A lot of them are pretty sharp, as you can see. And so the last thing you want to do is bump over one weird or pop your tire or something, So I slowed down a bit, but then it turns out there was a pretty good room over here on the side that I could kind of get around a lot of the rocks, and it was a little bit harder ground rather than the super loose stuff on the right track. There's some more rocks. As you can see, again, it's pretty loose, so I kind of slowed down a little bit here, picking my path a little bit slower and taking a little more time to choose where I want to go around all these things. Again, you can see it's not too difficult of a trail. This is actually the trail I've done, a lot of my trail riding on, being a newer trail rider. It's a really good trail for practicing. Here there's a Jeep. He waves me on by, and I can see he's kind of parking. Here's a good example right here of how you want to maybe go a little bit slower around those blind corners and be pretty attentive, because you never know what's around the corner. And there were a couple adventure bikes there coming pretty quick, and I had to kind of swerve over to the right pretty quick and avoid them. Here's a few more rocks. As you can see, again, it's pretty loose, but I have a nice path here on the left around all that loose stuff on the right. If I was feeling a little more confident, I might have gone on the right side. But there's an example where I got a little bit loose. Also stalled it. You can see the back tires slid out a little bit on those loose rocks. Here I kind of took a moment to choose my path, because you can see here on the right there's a pretty good little incline here right next to me up to the higher part of the path, and I didn't want to risk having my tires slip down it by trying to go up it, so I kind of stayed over here to the left, and then I could get out. Now I'm on the next part of the trail. This part of the trail is the next part. You can see it's a little bit also super loose here, but it's a little bit narrower. It's more of a a single Jeep width trail rather than the full 2 Jeep width trail that it was before. I've certainly noticed, I've ridden this trail pretty much all spring, and now that we're into summer, and we've had some pretty decent rain recently, and obviously there's more users on this trail now. The trail's a little bit looser, the rocks are a little bit looser, and I'm going a little bit slower than I might have been if it was a little earlier on the season when there was a little bit less erosion going on. But still relatively easy right now, just a bit loose, a bit gravelly. Here's a time when I got to speed up a bit. Again, here's some pretty loose stuff, as you can see. You can hear camera just got pelted with a rock, so this stuff is a little bit looser. And there, another rock, so just kind of keeping my line as best as I can, standing up and just keeping it going. Here I ran into some more traffic, a couple of mountain bikers. This trail does have a lot of mountain bikers on it. Here I have kind of a little bit of a blind corner, so I'm going to let them slow down, or I'm going to slow down a little bit, let them go ahead of me. There's also this trench here that I want to kind of choose my path through. And then I noticed that there's this KLR coming the other direction. So I figure, just to be polite and make it as easy as possible, I'm going to slip in behind the bikes for now, let the KLR get around me on his path, and then I can get around the bikes. Here's some more traffic. This guy was actually putting along a pretty good pace, a little bit faster than the others, and so I was kind of letting him go. There I decided to pass him, and you can see I got a little bit loose when I hit that rock, but I just gave it some gas to keep it straight and keep it going, and got out of that situation where I lost my front a little bit and got around the bike. Stuff here, and some pretty decent rocks sticking out of the ground, so I slowed down a bit to get over those. Figured I would use this camera angle just to kind of show you guys what it's like going on with my tires, and rather than doing the helmet cam this time, just to give you guys a different perspective and really see what I'm doing. Here I kind of made a mistake. You can see I tried to go around this huge puddle on the right and went through these loose rocks, and kind of got me a little loose. So there I probably would have been better off actually going through the puddle. Up here is a nice little pull-off spot up on the top of the mountain. Good spot. You can see there's this fireplace there and picnic tables. A lot of people come up here and have lunch. You can see there's a couple of off-roaders. Really good place to take a picture. And I had a nice conversation with these folks. Turns out they were actually also pilots, so we talked about airplanes for a while. Now we're going again. You can see here's some more traffic, some dirt bikers. I decided to slow down a bit and let them get past me going the other way, because there was this big hole right here. Again, I stalled it. But I wanted to get around to the left side of it, since there's a big rock there in front of it, and a big puddle. Didn't want to have to deal with that, so I let them go by, and then I could. And that actually brings me up to one of my most favorite spots on this trail. You have off to the left here, you have a really good view, and you can see how the trail narrows a little bit, and actually right off here, off the left side, it's pretty much a straight drop off down to the side, and so it's a really cool spot to stop, get some photos, take some pictures, and enjoy the view. Here's another interesting vehicle I ran into up here. This is actually like a lifted Volvo on big off-road tires, which was kind of funny to see. Always run into interesting stuff. Here was another interesting one, a big Audi SUV. I pray for his rocker panels. Here, trail widens out a little bit more, can speed up. Now we're on to the next section of the trail, and if you guys remember from my first trail riding video a little while back, this is the spot where Crazy Duck and I actually had to stop because this was all snowed in still. So this is the first time I've actually got to do this part of the trail because it's been snowed in until now. And you can see it's relatively dry at this point. There's some puddles. I was trying to keep the bike as dry as possible at this point, just for ease of maintenance. I mean, it's not like I'm adverse to going through puddles or whatever, but, you know, just for easy cleaning of all the mud and stuff. So yeah, this was pretty decently loose as well. Again, this is the first time I had ridden this part of the trail before, so I was taking it a bit slow and just kind of choosing my path and so forth. But it was a relatively easy ride, relatively similar to what it was before. You can see it's starting to get a little bit muddier, which was somewhat worrisome. Just didn't want to get into too much mud, and unfortunately I would up ahead. But that's just kind of part of what it is when you're coming out of spring. You got snow melt, you got a lot of rain and so forth, and you can see here basically I had no choice but to deal with the mud, and it was pretty loose. Pretty kind of slimy and so forth, but I just kind of slowed down a little bit. A few puddles here and there, but nothing too major yet. There, it got a little loose. Kind of slipped out a little bit, but not too bad. Here I decided I was going to try to go around this big muddy section on the right, excuse me, where it was a little drier. And I don't have the best tires for mud. As you can see, I have Scorpion Trails, which are mostly road, some off-road tire. There, I stalled it again. And I had a Jeep coming along, so I was kind of being a bit slow, decided to pull off here to the right and just let him get through before I dealt with him, since he's it's easier for me to get off the trail than him. And here I actually talked to him for a moment, this 4Runner, and he proceeded to let me know that it got nothing but worse further down. It just got muddier. So I decided at that point, I'd been riding for a few hours, getting a little tired, and I didn't want to deal with much more mud, so I decided to whip her around and start heading back. Here I got pinned on a rock a little bit. There it goes. And decided to just kind of pick my way back through. Keep stalling. That is the one thing about the triple, is it's since it doesn't have too much torque very low, like say a twin does, you know, you have to give it a little bit more gas to keep it going, but not too bad. Here I'm just kind of going straight through. There's my boot over there on the right, just dragging a little bit to in case I slide out at all. And at that point I pretty much got out of the mud and headed back home. So let me know what you guys think of this video. If it was interesting and you liked the format, then just let me know and I'll try to do another one. I thought it was kind of a fun way to try out a little bit different video. So thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Nasurama out. Peace.